The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of the federal courthouse in Miami, casting golden rays over the packed courtroom. Reporters sat shoulder to shoulder in the gallery, their pens poised, cameras hovering just outside the barred doors. Today was no ordinary hearing, it was a clash between two powerful figures, and the anticipation buzzed in the air like static electricity. Judge Aileen Cannon, her black robes flowing as she entered the courtroom, settled into her chair with a practiced air of authority. She glanced around the room, her eyes sharp, her expression unreadable. Everyone knew she had been under national scrutiny for months, with critics questioning her impartiality in high-profile political cases. This hearing was her chance to reassert control, to prove she was the one who commanded the gavel, not the spotlight. Across from her, at the plaintiff's table, sat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, invited as a special legal representative in the matter under review. Crockett wasn't just any attorney, she was a fierce trial lawyer before her congressional career, and her reputation preceded her. Known for her razor-sharp questioning style and fearless demeanor, she was not the type to be intimidated, not even by a federal judge. The bailiff's voice boomed. "All rise. The United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida is now in session," the Honorable Judge Aileen Cannon presiding. The room rose, then sat in unison as the proceedings began. Judge Cannon leaned slightly forward, speaking in measured tones. "Ms. Crockett, you are here today not as a member of Congress but as legal counsel. I trust you understand the boundaries of this court and the necessity of respect for judicial authority." Jasmine Crockett's eyes locked on the judge, unflinching. "Respect is earned, Your Honor. And the authority of this court rests not in fear, but in fairness." Gasps rippled quietly through the courtroom. Reporters scribbled furiously, sensing a headline in the making. Judge Cannon's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The case at hand involved evidence suppression, a controversial set of documents some argued revealed deeper corruption. Cannon had already hinted in earlier filings that she considered the evidence inadmissible, a move many legal scholars criticized as shielding powerful interests. Crockett had been brought in to argue why the evidence was crucial, and why silencing it meant silencing the truth. But only minutes into her argument, the clash began. "Your Honor," Crockett began, her voice clear and commanding, "to deny this evidence is to deny justice. It is to blindfold the jury, to silence the people who—" Judge Cannon slammed her gavel once. "Ms. Crockett, you will keep your statements confined to the legal framework. This is not a political stage." Crockett didn't flinch. "With respect, Judge, the law itself becomes political when it bends to shield the powerful. If the framework you speak of is designed to conceal the truth, then it is my duty to challenge it." "You are out of order," Cannon snapped. "I will not allow this courtroom to descend into theatrics." But Crockett only leaned closer to the microphone, her voice lowering, deliberate, cutting through the silence like a blade. "What you call theatrics, Your Honor, the American people call accountability." The gallery buzzed again, louder this time. A stern look from the bailiff quieted the room, but the tension only grew. Reporters could barely contain themselves, already imagining the headlines: "Crockett defies Cannon in courtroom showdown." Judge Cannon's face reddened slightly. She was known for her composure, but Crockett's refusal to bow struck a nerve. "If you continue in this manner, Ms. Crockett, I will hold you in contempt." Crockett's lips curled into the faintest of smirks. "Contempt, Your Honor, is earned when a person disrespects the court. But silence in the face of injustice, that would be self-contempt." The room went dead silent. Even the clicking of reporters' pens stopped. Part 1 ended not with a gavel strike, but with the weight of Crockett's words hanging in the air, daring the judge to respond. The silence after Jasmine Crockett's words stretched longer than anyone expected. Judge Aileen Cannon shifted in her chair, clearly struggling to maintain her composure. Her gavel rested firmly in her hand, but she hesitated to strike it again, perhaps realizing that every heavy-handed move she made would only confirm Crockett's accusation of silencing the truth. Finally, Cannon cleared her throat. "This court will not tolerate political grandstanding. Ms. Crockett, I will remind you one last time, stay within the legal bounds of your argument." Crockett leaned back, her posture calm yet commanding. She spoke slowly, each word deliberate. "The legal bounds of this argument, Your Honor, are the Constitution. And the Constitution is not silent. It demands transparency. It demands accountability. And it demands that even those in power answer to the law. The gallery erupted in whispers again, reporters scrambling to capture her words. Judge Cannon banged the gavel repeatedly. Order. Order in the court. But Crockett wasn't finished. She leaned forward, her voice firm, cutting through the noise. You may silence my microphone, Judge Cannon. You may even hold me in contempt. But what you cannot do is erase the truth. And today, that truth will be spoken, whether this court wishes to hear it or not. The audacity of her statement sent shockwaves through the courtroom. A few spectators in the back even clapped before the bailiff quickly hushed them. Cannon's face flushed deeper, her authority visibly shaken. Ms. Crockett, she said coldly, you are skating dangerously close to professional misconduct. Crockett locked eyes with her. With respect, Judge, history has never remembered those who obeyed silence in the face of corruption. It remembers those who dared to speak. The room froze. Cameras outside the door clicked as journalists whispered updates into their phones. Even the opposing counsel, who had expected Crockett to be cowed into submission, looked uneasy now. At last, Cannon leaned back in her chair, gripping the armrests tightly. For the first time in her career, she looked less like a judge in control and more like a politician on trial. After a long pause, she finally muttered, proceed, but stay focused on the evidence. It was a small concession, but everyone in the room knew what it meant. Jasmine Crockett had won this round. She had not only defended her right to speak, she had forced a federal judge to back down. Crockett straightened her papers calmly, her expression betraying not a hint of triumph. Thank you, Your Honor, she said smoothly, though her tone carried the weight of victory. From there, she launched into her argument with even greater force. She laid out the suppressed evidence piece by piece, methodically dismantling the rationale for hiding it. She spoke not just as a lawyer but as a representative of the people, reminding everyone present that the courtroom did not belong to one person in a robe, it belonged to justice itself. The tension broke only when the recess bell rang. The gallery spilled into the hallways, buzzing with energy. Reporters rushed to file their stories, knowing this confrontation would dominate the headlines. Crockett shocks court, defies Judge Cannon in explosive showdown. Inside, Judge Cannon remained on the bench, staring down at her gavel as though questioning whether her authority had truly survived the morning. Meanwhile, Crockett walked out of the courtroom with steady steps, her head high, flanked by a crowd of journalists shouting her name. One reporter managed to ask, Congresswoman, weren't you afraid the judge would hold you in contempt? Crockett paused, turning slightly toward the cameras. Her answer was simple but devastating. I'd rather be held in contempt of court than be complicit in the contempt of justice. And with that, she walked away, leaving the nation stunned. The story didn't end in that courtroom, it exploded across every major news outlet. Clips of Cannon trying to silence Crockett, followed by Crockett's fiery words, played on repeat across social media, igniting debates about judicial power, accountability, and courage. For Jasmine Crockett, it was more than a legal victory. It was a defining moment, a declaration that truth cannot be gagged, not even by the most powerful of gavels. And for Judge Cannon, it was a lesson that sometimes, silence isn't control, it's defeat.